A first half for the Phillies that didn't go as planned did hit a peaking moment in Atlanta. A Phillies offense that had struggled most of the way came alive in mid-June, and it did so while the Braves played host for a 3-game sweep. The Phillies returned to Turner Field and returned to officially start the second half. Well, they're pulling out all the stops here at Turner Field as the Braves get set for the second half tonight against the Philadelphia Phillies. It's game 1 of a 3-game series. They got fireworks. They got a little band going on out in the outfield. We're ready to go. The Phils are hoping they have the same success against the Braves here tonight as they had last time they faced each other. And as we begin the second half, the Braves and the Nationals in a virtual tie for first place of the National League East. The Nationals with 1 less loss, and of course the Braves with 1 more win, and the Phillies find themselves 11 games under the 500 mark. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Matt Stairs, who's refreshed and ready to go after the All-Star break. And yeah, the Phillies have a tough road ahead of them in the second half for a variety of reasons, but they also have a tough road because of the schedule they're going to play.
Well, they really do, and one thing they better start doing is playing with some energy. That's the key right now, is to come out, especially tonight, come out and just get hungry for wins. You know, they've showed a lot of promise at times throughout the year, going into Milwaukee, taking a 4-game sweep, coming to Atlanta, sweeping these guys 3 games. So we know it's there. We just have to get back on that the area where we know they have the confidence of doing it. And just, you know, whenever you get a chance, just go ahead and bury a team.
34 games against first or second place teams in the second half of the year. And we talked about it. 3-game sweep against the Atlanta Braves the last time they were here at Turner Field. They're hoping that they can duplicate that beginning tonight. They also hope that Ryan Howard can duplicate what he did in that series last time here in Atlanta.
Well, a lot of good things came in this series with Ryan Howard. One, he was patient. He walked 4 times, 2 intentional walks. To me, he has to slow down his body. You know, we see a big error right here by Freddie Freeman, but it's one of those things where he just tries to do too much, I think, at home plate. He needs to sit back, let the ball get deep so he can drive the ball to left center where his power is. What I'm noticing lately is that he's swinging almost every pitch that's thrown up there. He's not being patient. He's swinging at the pitcher's pitch. All he has to do is see a pitcher react. Right here, it's a slider down and then it's a reaction. The longer you stay back and use your hands and react, the ball will jump off your bat really well.
Well, he certainly had a great series. The Phillies, as a whole, had a great series offensively. Marlon Byrd hustling from start to finish, drives in Ryan Howard here, and the Phils wound up sweeping out that series, even though they were down in game number 3. So they'll hope for the same success here this weekend as we start the second half of the season. A.J. Burnett will be making his 21st start of the year. He'll be opposed by right-hander Irvin Santana. When we return to Turner Field, we hope the weather holds off and we'll have the lineups and first pitch. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Citizens Bank, introducing One Deposit Checking. Keeping things simple is helping you bank better. By Toyota, where will Toyota take you? Visit buyattoyota.com to find out. Toyota, let's go places. By Budweiser, here's to Budweiser, here's to baseball. By Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. And by Independence Blue Cross, the most preferred health plan in the region. Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Atlanta, Georgia. The tarp is off to the side. It's not covered at this point. It's been raining the last 20 minutes or so. Let's take a look at the Phillies starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Revere, Rollins, and Utley, followed by Ryan, Howard, Marlin, Birding, Grady Sizemore batting 6th. Cody Ashley hits 7th. Cameron Rupp does the catching. He'll bat 8th, and batting 9th at pitching is A.J. Burnett. And they will face 31-year-old right-hander Urban Santana. Well, they're growing accustomed to seeing Urban Santana in a Braves uniform, Matt.
Well, they should know what he features, that's for sure. He's starting to throw the ball a little better in July. He had a rough May and June. But you're going to see a lot of fastballs from him. He's a guy that's going to pound the strike zone, and that's what he does with the Budweiser scouting report. 89 to 94 mile an hour fastball, slider change, and a 1-1 with a 2.89 ERA versus the Phillies.
Well, Ben Revere is quickly in the hole. No balls at 2 strikes. Revere hitting .295. A home run and 12 runs batted in. Phillies have had 4 days off like everybody else. Well, before those 4 days off, Revere was 3 for 7 in that series against the Nationals, which ended with a thud on Sunday. One ball, 2 strikes to Revere. And he chops that one up to the first base side, picked up by Freddie Freeman, 1 away. And with that, it's time now for our Nissan keys to tonight's ball game. Go get it, Matt.
Well, my first Nissan key is tonight is play with some energy. You know, they've had a little letdown the last couple of games before the first half. So come out and play with some energy and take some pitches. You've had 4 days off. Take some pitches, get deep in the count, and get your timing back. Yeah,
some teams had workouts if they were home prior to tonight's ball games. The San Diego Padres were one. The Detroit Tigers were one. The Phillies arrived late last night into Atlanta. They took some early batting practice today. Jimmy Rollins was not one of those guys, though. Rollins was experiencing some back spasms before the ball game. The Atlanta Braves also worked out yesterday. Jimmy was not originally in the starting lineup. In fact, there was a void in the 2-hole when the lineup was first posted. But then he was able to work the spasm out, and that's why he's in there tonight. Ryan Sandberg said it was no big deal. Rollins has hit in 5 consecutive games. And he hits that off his foot foul. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Dan Sherman of Hamilton. Phillies hit a home run in today's ball game, then Dan will win $200. 1 ball, 1 strike to Rollins. Off the end of the bat, a dribbler left of the mound, barehanded by Urban Santana. 2 outs. Well, Matt, that was a very athletic play by the Braves pitcher.
No, it was, and that's one of the things right there where you're going to see guys not recognizing changeups early in the game, especially with having 4 days off. You're a little jumpy. But Santana gets off, makes a barehanded throw and a strong throw to first base. But that's why it's so important, especially having 4 days off, is sit back, let the ball get deep, hit the ball back up the middle. Don't worry about getting jammed.
It's a good point. I wondered about that, just what you meant from the timing standpoint. Is Rollins very slowly comes off the field. I mean, really slow. He came off the field. I don't know how close to 100% he is with the back issue that he had before the ball game. That doesn't look 100% right there.
No.
Here's Chase Utley. Utley fresh off the All-Star appearance where he doubled off the right center field wall. Also was hit by a pitch. Rollins almost looks like he's trying to work out a cramp in his thigh. Breaking ball, and it's no balls and 2 strikes to Utley. Utley 1 for 8 lifetime against Urban Santana. Sean Fakasny is sitting next to Rollins and checking him out, making sure he's okay. And Matt, you're no doctor, I'm no doctor, but he doesn't look okay.
Came back to the second pitch, he fouled off his foot.
Oh, you think that's what it was?
That's what it is.
Forgot all about that.
That's why I'm here, Tom. Dr. Stairs.
That's exactly right. Matt received his PhD during the All-Star break.
Had to graduate from something. Or something, I should say.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Utley. Utley He takes inside 2-2. Well, from all reports, Chase seemed to really enjoy the All-Star game out in Minnesota. Not only with what he said, but just the shots of him during the home run derby with his son Ben, and just the reaction during those couple of days in Minnesota. He also swung the bat pretty well in that ball game. It wasn't all that easy. He had to face John Lester and Chris Sale, two very complicated left-handers, to say the least.
I found it interesting during the All-Star break watching Chase during infield outfield practice, him at second base holding a microphone as Harold Reynolds talked to him and asked him questions.
Do you think that's a foreshadowing of what he's going to do when he gets done with the game?
No.
Fouled away. It remains 3-2. It's certainly one of the more lighter moments that you'll see Chase be part of. Utley enters tonight's ball game with 8 home runs, 46 runs batted in, 24 doubles. He's working Santana here, and he slaps it the other way and stays alive. Phillies enter play tonight 26th in majors in runs scored and 28th in average. And he pulls that one to first. Big hop for Freddie Freeman. He was able to corral it, and the side is retired. It was an 8-pitch at bat, but 3 ground outs, including one off the bat of Jimmy Rollins. Middle of the first. A.J. Burnett will go to work when we return. First in the National League East. Let's take a look at his starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Leading it off in center field, B.J. Upton. Andrelton Simmons, the shortstop, bats second. Freddie Freeman hits third, followed by Justin Upton and Jason Hayward. Chris Johnson's over at third base, he'll bat sixth. In the bottom third of La Stella, Bethencourt, and Santana. And they'll face Phillies right-hander A.J. Burnett. A.J. 6-8 on the year, an earned run average of 3.83. He has struck out 108 so far. He's been durable despite the hernia injury. 131 2/3 innings so far this year.
He's been throwing the ball really well his last 7 starts. He's 3-3 with a 2.94 ERA. He's being able to throw that fastball when he wants for strikes, mixed into 2 different type of curveballs, as you see from the Budweiser scouting report. He's been topping out at 95-mile-an-hour fastball, 4-seamer, and a sinker fastball. But the numbers that catch me off guard is a 5-12 with a 3.90 ERA versus the Braves, which tells me he doesn't get a whole lot of run support when he pitches against the Braves.
Well, that's absolutely true, and he's been lacking success here at Turner Field. Over his last 10 starts here at Turner Field, he has not won a ball game. So he'll go to work against B.J. Upton, 0 for his last 7 going into the break. Upton takes a fastball, and it's 0-1. B.J. was 1 for 9 in the series against the Cubs, which wrapped up the last weekend before the All-Star break. Batting leadoff for the 19th time. Back toward the middle. Utley had him played toward the middle. And one away. Andrelton Simmons coming up. Well, Murph, the winds of change have blown through the Atlanta Braves clubhouse earlier today.
Yeah, Tom, and this is one that you almost could see coming. If you remember, right before the break, Dan Uggla and the Atlanta Braves had a little bit of a situation where Uggla was suspended in the final game of the first half of the season this past Sunday for being late to the game in Chicago. Well, today, the Braves made some moves, as you mentioned, and they made a roster move actually releasing Dan Uggla, which is, when you stop to think about it, really kind of remarkable. He's been here for 4 years. You take a look at his numbers, and, well, he really struggled since he's been here. You take 209 batting average over the last 4 years. He did have 79 home runs and knocked in 225, but by the end of this year, or actually at this point this year, batting just 162 and had been relegated to a bench player at this point, a very high-paid bench player that actually makes that play across the diamond. So they decided today Tyler Pastornicki is up, and they've released Dan Uggla. So it'll be interesting to see, guys, whether he's able to catch on anywhere else.
Yeah, $19 million is what the Braves are on the hook for, and Frank Wren and the rest of the Atlanta Braves, as Murph said, they knew this day was coming. They did try to trade him, but with his numbers and the amount of money that he's supposed to make, it's really difficult, as the Phillies fans know, it's really difficult to move that kind of contract. Here's Freddie Freeman, who takes outside. It's 1-0. Now, Matt, with all that said, an American League team or a team in need of a second baseman, somebody's probably going to pick him up.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no loss. You're going to pick him up. You're going to pay him. You're going to wait till he clears the release forms. I think it's about 3 days or whatever, and he's going to make the minimum. So really, if you bring him in, what you're looking for is him to come into a new organization. If he can win you one game, that might get you over the top.
One and only one.
You never know. I still think he has a potential to have some good numbers. You just don't lose it that quick.
2 balls and no strikes to Freeman, and he takes a 2-seamer inside. It's 3-0. A.J. Burnett thought that was a pretty good pitch. Freddie Freeman hitting .295, 13 home runs, 52 runs batted in. He played in the All-Star game in Minnesota. And he takes a walk on 4 pitches. Well, speaking of Freddie Freeman being in the All-Star game, he's part of our Geico quote of the day, talking about his first All-Star hit. It's a special moment, obviously. I was just trying to make contact out there. It's definitely in front of a lot of people in person and on TV. And to be able to come through and get a hit was a cool experience.
Isn't the bottom line, whenever you take a swing, you want to make contact?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think he was just filling the notebook. Not the major league notebook, just the notebook. Fastball low, 5 straight out of the strike zone by Burnett. By the way, from all reports, though, Minnesota was an outstanding host for this year's All-Star game. One ball, no strikes to Justin Upton. And that pitch is a little outside. It's now 2-0. I do believe that A.J. Burnett thinks Phil Cuzzy's strike zone's a little tight right now. A couple of close pitches, one to Freeman, one there to Upton. That one's a broken bat looper out towards second and caught out of the air by Chase Utley. And the side is retired. No runs, no hits, and 1 man left. We've played 1. On to the second. Ryan Howard will get his first opportunities when we come back. for sale on Friday, August 8th. It's all part of the Alumni Weekend at Citizens Bank Park. Tickets can be purchased for the Roy Halladay Bobble figurine. Free to fans. Compliments of Toyota on Friday, August 8th. That's when the Phillies take on the New York Mets. It's a 7:05 start. Tickets can be purchased anytime this weekend by going to Phillies.com. I believe Doc will be in town for that weekend. Charlie Manuel will be honored as well as he goes up on the Phillies Wall of Fame, rightfully so. Ryan Howard will lead it off. It'll be Ryan Howard, Marlon Byrd, and Grady Sizemore against Urban Santana. 3-man overshift on for Howard. First pitch is upstairs. It's 1-0. Ryan with 46 career home runs against the Atlanta Braves. Somehow he could figure out how to do against everybody else what he did that series against Atlanta here at Turner Field. Well, that would be one productive cleanup hitter.
Be fun to talk about, that's for sure.
2 balls and 1 strike. You said something that was kind of interesting during the open about pitch recognition, that in a lot of ways he's swinging. He's basically become a free swinger over the last few years. I mean, the strikeouts tell you that. And I guess he was somewhat of a free swinger before, but more so now than, let's say, 3 or 4 years ago. Would you agree?
I would. And hitting a baseball is a reaction. And you try to stay back as long as you can, and it's a reaction with your hands. He swings with his whole body and his upper body and his lower half and his hands as he has a good at bat and draws a walk. But he just needs to slow his whole motion down a little bit and not think that he has to hit it or swing at every single pitch that's thrown up there, which we've seen this year. He'll swing at a pitch over his head or a slider. The only pitch he has not swung at this year is the one behind him.
Well, when he does that, then I think it's all over, man. Well, he works out the walk. And that'll bring Marlon Byrd to the plate. Marlon 9th in the league in RBIs, 5th in home runs. 18 home runs, 54 runs batted in. That ball just missed hitting Marlon Byrd. All right, you want to see a short lead, Matt? You want to see a short lead. Ryan Howard has the definition of a short lead over at first. If you're Freddie Freeman, you don't even have to hold him on. 1 ball and 1 strike to Marlon Byrd. Marlon was 4 for 12 with a couple RBIs in that series against the Nationals. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Well, know thyself. I guess that's what Ryan Howard's thinking. He knows that it might take a little bit of an effort to get back if he gets off any farther than that. Outside, 2-2. Out of play. During the 2014 season, Turkey Hill, the official ice cream of the Phillies, will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Grand Slam ice cream, sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs. Three balls and 2 strikes to Marlon Byrd. Phil Cuzzy is the home plate umpire tonight. Will Little is over at first. Jerry Davis at second. Jim Wolf around at third. This is already the third 3-ball count for Santana. The second 3-2 count. Down the right field line and out of play. Marlon Byrd's name has popped up the last few days, as you would expect, in trade talks. The trade deadline is the 31st of July. Marlon has a very limited no trade clause in his contract where he can decline to go to, I guess what was reported were 4 different teams. Inside, ball 4, and that's the second walk, and it's a heck of an at-bat right there.
It is, and that's something that I like to see. I like to see these guys taking pitches. And I don't mean lose your aggressiveness. If it's a fastball thrown down the middle, go ahead and attack it. But I always like coming back after All-Star break. I'd go with a wider stance. And all I'd think about is don't lift my front foot, just use my hands. And that way you're not going to get in trouble by jumping after the ball.
So would that be for 1 game or for 2 games or until you feel really comfortable that you're seeing the ball?
Well, I was hoping after today's game, if I had 4 or 5 at-bats, I was hoping to see between 20 to 26 pitches. And I knew that was going to set me up for a while.
Well, here's Grady Sizemore, who's been dropped to the 6th hole for no reason other than his production ability, according to Ryan Sandberg. He just feels like he'd be more of a run producer than, let's say, a Ben Revere. And Revere has been hitting the ball well, so Sandberg decided to try this combination. Sizemore overall hitting .250 for the Phils. He's hit in all 3 games he's played in. Does have 23 career at-bats against Urban Santana. You forget that Santana was such a fixture in the American League where Sizemore played. Phillies have a chance to score first here in the top of the second. Down low, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Ryan Sandberg said today that Sizemore is going to play. Now, if that means that Dominic Brown and Ben Revere are going to have their at-bats cut, well, that's going to see what happens. Yeah.
It happens.
That's a broken bat looper out towards shallow right field. LaStella got a late start, and he can't get it. It drops in for a base hit, and because it went away from him and he went away from the ball, Byrd was able to go to second. It's going to be the first hit of the night for the Phils, and they've got him loaded here in the 2nd inning. What a break for the Phillies that ball hit the turf and then spun away from LaStella, and he stepped to his left. So it gave Byrd a chance to get up to second base.
Right there, looks like he's going to catch it. It's like my chip shot today on the course.
It was spinning?
Yeah, wrong way right there. But that's what we go back right there and say that's a very smart piece of hitting right there. Hit the ball where they're not. Line drive in the books, bases loaded.
Well, now a chance for the Phils to take the lead with Cody Ashe at the plate. And Ashe swings and hits one to right field. It's going to be deep enough to score Howard, I would think. Hayward's under it, and his throw is going to go to second base. Howard will score, and the Phillies strike first. They lead at 1-0. A sac fly for Cody Ashe. It's his 30th RBI of the season. And the Phillies have runners on first and third with 1 man down.
Well, and that's what we're talking about. If it's a fastball right there, go ahead and be aggressive, especially with runners in scoring position. Pitchers love to get ahead with a first pitch fastball. Last thing I want to do is get 1 ball, no strikes. Now they know a fastball's coming in. Be aggressive the first pitch. Just missed it in a grand slam, but nice job of Marlon Byrd going back to second base and tagging and going to third base.
Yeah, because now you have the 8-hitter, Cameron Rupp, up with a chance to bring the runner home from third with another fly ball. So runners on first and third with 1 man down. Sizemore over at first, Byrd at third, and Cameron Rupp hitting 195 is the hitter, and he takes low. It's 1-0. Rupp with 5 runs batted in. How about he has 4 doubles already? 4 of his 8 hits are 2 base hits. Back toward the middle. That's going to sneak into center field. A base hit. Byrd will score. Sizemore stops at second. It's 2-0 Phillies. Talk about keeping the train moving. Second hit of the inning for the Phils.
It's the fastball inside. Gets jammed a little bit, but keeps his hands inside enough to drive it up the middle. And made a good point. Keep the train moving. I mean, you get a walk and a base hit, and that's what you look for, and that's what teams do when they win baseball games. They don't get that one run and stop. They put multi-walks together or hits back-to-back and score extra runs.
All right, now Burnett's up. Now he has a chance to sacrifice the runners up in his scoring position if the Phillies choose to do it. And they do, and he bunts it foul. It's 0-1. Well, the inning began with those 2 walks to Ryan Howard and Marlon Byrd. Chris Johnson relaying the signs to Irvin Santana. How come sometimes pitchers just don't remember the signs?
They never do. I don't know why it is. They're going through the signs, and then the third baseman has to go over and tell them what play's on. There's 2 plays. Straight up or crash.
Well, they're crashing, and the pitch is high. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Now the Toyota Major League scoreboard, an update from Washington, where the Brewers are shutting out the Nats 4-0. Scooter Gennett, a home run already in this ball game.
No, Pete's coming down the line to talk to. Well, yeah.
We got Pete talking to AJ. We got Chris Johnson talking to Irvin Santana.
I don't think you're going to see the aggressive everyone running everywhere right now because he has the opportunity to pull the bat back and swing.
Well, he pulls the bat back and takes it outside. It's 2-1. All right. Did Chris Johnson forget the signs? Matt, they had 4 days to go over this.
I'm not going to say it.
Inside, 3-1. Boy, this is a tight strike zone. Brent Sandberg laying down some signs. I would still think the sacrifice is in store here.
Just don't anger Phil behind home plate, because it'll be a long series for you if you're complaining.
Well, he bunts it foul. It's now 3-2. Phillies have scored 2 runs in the inning, one on a sac fly, the other on a single to center. This will be the 25th pitch of the second inning. And Burnett squares again, and Santana steps off. And he chops it to the right side. Freeman goes to second for 1, and that's what you didn't want to have happen. Estella hangs on to the bag, and the side is retired. It's a 3-6-4 double play. Phillies settle for 2, and I believe they're calling the defense back because Ryan Sandberg wants to talk to the first base umpire, Will Little, about the potential of Estella coming off the bag. Larry Bowa will get on the horn. They'll review it underneath, and the Phillies will decide whether they want this one challenged or not. Phil Cuzzy made sure he pulled the defense back. Now, not everybody listens. He was dancing around the bag. Yeah, he's on. Yeah, they've decided they're not going to challenge it, so that will be the end of the top of the second. The Phillies leave 1, they score 2. We'll go to the bottom of the second. It's the Phillies 2 and the Braves nothing. to know breaking news on all your Philly teams right now from your smartphone. Download the free CSN Philly Sports app today. Last of the second, the Phillies on top 2-0. So they get a couple of runs in their half of the second. Those two walks by Marlon Byrd and Ryan Howard were productive. But get some credit to the bottom of the order, this much maligned bottom of the order, Matt, for coming through with some hits.
Well, and that's what you're looking for. And moving Brady Sizemore down lower in the order. It worked out there. He got a base hit. Also, one thing we never talked about, it kind of gives more protection for Marlon Byrd. You have a guy who's had a very good career. He's battling back some injuries and stuff, but he's been swinging the bat pretty good since he's been back. So,
well, you just saw Cameron Rupp too from the 8th spot in the order. He had that base hit. That'll bring Jason Hayward to the plate as we start the bottom of the second. Hayward hitting .255. He had a very good road trip for the Braves going into the break. He's hit it 7 straight. He was 12 for 30 during that road trip. One ball and one strike. A two-seamer that came back. In the air to right field, and this is going to be a one-run ball. That's an 8-game hitting streak. 9th home run of the year for Hayward. Well, I guess being in the middle of this lineup has paid off for him. And it's a 2-1 game.
Well, Hayward's definitely hit with a lot of confidence right now. Being in that middle of the lineup. See Cameron looking for that changeup down the zone, and it was right down inner half to a left-hander, and one of the easiest pitches to hit out of the ballpark is that changeup down and in, where it's just a drop the barrel and the ball jumps off it.
I have to admit that it's I'm surprised it only went into the first row the way it left his bat. No balls and one strike to Chris Johnson. Johnson hitting .277 with 6 home runs and 36 runs batted in. Just off the outside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike. All around Major League Baseball, Matt, they're going to be looking for highlights of that home run. Not for any real reason except for the at-bat app, which always sends out signals as to what happens on scoring plays. As Utley takes care of Johnson, just sent out a text to everybody that has the at-bat app that says Jason Hayward hits it inside the park home run on a fly ball to right field. People are going to be looking for that video everywhere. Speaking of that app, it is a great one. Get live look-ins, instant replay, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.TV game of the day. Sometimes the proper information and much more. Download on the App Store. Visit Phillies.com today. Here's Tommy La Stella, who loops one out toward left center. Here comes Revere, and he makes the catch. There are 2 outs.
Tom, you must be special because I didn't get that text.
I literally received it as soon as the ball went into the first row. Maybe somebody had anticipated inside the park home run. That guy right there is the one who caught the ball, and that youngster has the baseball. Here's Christian Bethancourt hitting .256. Whoa. I do believe that one got away. Look at AJ smirking.
Is he smirking because of the pitcher, or because he's smirking because of the guy behind home plate?
I think it could be a combination of both. That kid in the red shirt behind home plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. As the ball hit the speaker behind home plate, he jumped as if the ball was coming right at him. There we go. He was talking to his buddy, and all of a sudden, hey, wake up. On the outside corner, it's 1-2. Popped up foul. Howard will give it a look, but it's out of play. Not a lot of foul territory here at Turner Field. Nice grab by that gentleman. Everybody's happy around him. Drive softly hit out to left field, so a base hit for Bethancourt, and it brings Urban Santana to the plate with 2 men down. Well, it's time to take a look at our Mazda leaders, and the Atlanta Braves hitting .284 during the month of July. That's tops in the National League, well above the National League average. The Cubs are second, surprisingly. The Cardinals are third, not so surprisingly, and the Mets, who have moved into third place in the National League East, are at .266. Braves have 30 extra base hits in 12 games during the month of July. Well, 31 counting the home run. That one's blooped out to right center. Long run for everyone. It's going to drop in front of Bird and Utley, and Bethancourt on his way to third. May have been a little miscommunication because there were tight quarters out there. I think Utley might have been better suited to peel off and let Bird kind of run under that one.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's one of those ones where, as an infielder, you're taught to go all the way back, and maybe it just seemed like he was far enough out there where Marlon Bird could have caught that ball.
Yeah, that ball probably should have been caught. So first and third with 2 men down, and here's B.J. Upton. Upton grounded out his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Drive, base hit it to left center field. Sizemore's going to try to cut it off. A run scores. Santana on his way to third. He'll get there standing. It's a double for B.J. Upton, and we're tied up at 2. That's the 500th career RBI for B.J. Upton, and it snaps an 0 for 8 stretch for him.
Another spot where Cameron won low and away, and he threw that fastball right down the middle, and BJ drove it to left center, and Brady does a nice job of cutting the ball off and not allowing that ball to get to the warning track or to the fence, and not allowing Santana to score.
Well, now A.J. Burnett has to stop the bleeding here. We're tied up at 2, and there are 2 in scoring position for Simmons, who grounded out softly to third his first time up. He's 0 for 1. To left field, that'll drop for a hit. 1 run is in. Here comes Upton. He's being held, but he's going to go through the stop sign. He'll score. It's a 2-run single for Simmons, and the Braves lead it 4-2. Well, I don't know how B.J. Upton didn't see Doug DeCenzo, the third base coach, unless he was playing possum. He was telling him to hold up, and he was basically saying, go, go, go. He didn't break stride coming around third.
Curveball, he's base it to left field, and you see the third base coming down and putting his hands up, and he just kind of ran through the stop sign, and good choice on B.J. Upton's to run through the stop sign and score the run.
It wasn't even close. So does B.J. Upton talk to Doug DeCenzo, or they not even talk to each other if indeed he was trying to tell him to stop?
Well, usually what a player will say is, my bad, I didn't see you there. That's the easy way out of it.
Here's Freddie Freeman, and he takes a strike. It's 0-1. Well, I mentioned the Braves have been a hot team offensively, and they've scored 4 runs in this inning. All this extra scoring with 2 outs. We got the home run by Hayward to start the inning. The Santana at bat was the big one, hitting just 105, and he blooped a single to right center field. Sizemore will give this one a look into foul territory, and he can't get it. Foul territory, excuse me, closed quickly on him. And it's no balls and 2 strikes to Freeman. He actually had it lined up. He just missed it. Yeah, the lack of foul territory didn't really play a factor in that one. No balls and 2 strikes to Freeman. First, Ryan Howard has it. He'll just take it over to the bag, and the side is finally retired. But 8 men come to the plate in the inning. It began with a home run by Jason Hayward, but the Braves went on to score 3 more. They'll go to the 3rd, up 4-2 over the Phillies. On the Phillies.com, go to the fan section for all the information. And please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, Matt, I know you've been reading Baseball Reference over the last few days. Who was the last Atlanta Brave to lead the National League in strikeouts? The answer will be revealed a little later on in the ballgame. Now, Tom Glavine is here tonight. Tom is doing the Braves home television tonight. He is not the correct answer, just so you know. There he is.
Who was the last National League Braves pitcher to win the National League strikeouts?
Yeah, lead the National League in strikeouts. And Tom Glavine is not the correct answer. Ben Revere will lead it off. Revere grounded out his first time up. Phillies trail at 4-2. All right, the last time the Phillies were here, they had one game, the second game or third game of the series, where they were behind, and they were able to come back and win it. They certainly can do it against Urban Santana. He's not the same pitcher he was the first 3 weeks of the season. He's been better in July. Revere late on that fastball. It's 1-2. That last series, the Phillies hit .305. They scored 21 runs in 3 games. Now, a lot of those runs were in Game 3 of the series. They had 40 hits, including 12 extra base hits. But the other big stat during that series, they walked 14 times, which meant their on-base percentage was well above what Ryan Sandberg has seen his team put together for, the first part of the season. Those two guys are very happy after that 3-game sweep against the Braves. Now the Toyota Major League Scoreboard, the Giants begin the second half down in South Beach. They're shutting out the Marlins 4-0. Brandon Crawford has a 2-run home run. Boy, the Marlins are really slipping, aren't they? They're in 4th place right now in the East.
Yeah, they are.
Chopper softly left side. Simmons charges. And he throws out Revere. Let's take a look at tonight's current weather conditions, brought to you by Oliver Heating and Cooling. Visit oliverheatcool.com. 78 degrees. It is cloudy. And it is rainy. It's been raining for the last 45 minutes or so. It's a very light rain, though. Some folks arrived with their ponchos. Murph, you have rain gear on for tonight. Did you anticipate some rain in the Atlanta area for this weekend series?
Tom, I failed to anticipate rain in the Atlanta area for this particular series, so I'm hiding underneath right now.
You've been provided with rain gear.
Yeah, I have, and that's in my house.
Your house is very dry now in New Jersey. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, you can do what the youngster that we're showing is doing right now. You just put a towel over your head.
That's the next step.
Well, he's about 6 months old. 2 balls and 1 strike to Rollins. Rollins grounded out his first time up. Matt, you spent the All-Star break down here in Atlanta. Was the weather nice this week?
Actually, it was very nice. Got to about a high of 83, which was nice. I guess it didn't really matter because we were at the aquarium on Tuesday and then roller coasters on Wednesday.
And you did not partake in the roller coaster, you just watched.
Copy that.
Yep.
Told you I had to hold purses.
There's ball 4, and Rollins draws a walk. That's the 5th 3-ball count. And it's the 3rd walk issued by Santana. And that'll bring Chase Utley to the plate. Utley grounded out his first time up. And that one's fouled on the left field line out of play, and it's 0-1. Chase, of course, did not partake in the home run derby on Monday night in Minnesota, but he was out on the field. He said his son Ben lasted a few innings, and he left after Mike Stanton's long home run, which was about 10 rows from going out of target field.
Yeah, that was impressive right there. Did you see the picture of the one gentleman trying to catch one of his home runs?
Now, I did. I didn't know if that was a hoax or not, but I did see the picture. His hand, his hand was, there was some damage to that hand. And Giancarlo was putting on a display, not only his home runs to center field, but that one to left field. I think they estimated, what was it, 571 or something like that? No balls and 1 strike to Utley. And Utley taps it to the right side. That might be 2. There's 1, and There's two. Boy, Simmons is so quick around the bag at second base. 4-6-3 double play. Side is retired. We'll go to the bottom of the third with the Phillies trailing at 4-2. Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals. Call 1-800-JEFF now for an appointment. By the Pennsylvania Lottery. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. And by the Quality Plus Ford stores. Go further. Bottom of the third inning, the Braves lead at 4-2. They scored 4 in their half of the seconds. Phillies had a base runner. How about how quick Simmons was at second base on this double play, Matt?
Well, I mean, it was unbelievable. But look at the feed right here. Backhand right in the chest. And the turn, I mean, right there, that's what Chase loves to do right there, is that backhand feed to the shortstop. Gets him there quicker, gets something on it, but you're right. It was in his glove and out of his glove to first base in a matter of seconds.
Well, yeah, because Chase Utley on a ball hit like that is very difficult to double up because he's always moving. Justin Upton fouls the first pitch. It's 0-1. Upton popped out softly to Utley his first time up. Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Coming into tonight, A.J. Burnett had allowed 8 earned runs in 20 2/3 innings in the month of July. That one's over toward the tarp on the right side. Howard will give it a look, and it's out of play. Got a play by a couple rows. I would think the sky is tough to pick the baseball up at this point in the night. It usually is anyway, but because it's so, it's like an ash color almost. I've always heard this is one of the tougher ballparks to pick up fly balls at this time of night, for one reason or another. Swing and a miss. And strikeout number 1 for A.J. Burnett. That'll bring Jason Hayward to the plate. Now the Phillies get off this quick road trip. They'll take on the Giants beginning Monday. It's Fiat Italian Heritage Night at Citizens Bank Park. It's a 4-game series. It wraps up on Thursday at 1:05 with the Citizens Bank Business Person Special and a Modell's Kids Run the Bases after the game. A bunch of tickets are available, and Cliff Lee is expected to start on Monday night against the San Francisco Giants. Murph, while we were away on the All-Star break, Cliff Lee was working during the All-Star break. Well, we'll get to Murph's update in a second. Murph has the information on Lee's start during this All-Star break. No balls and 2 strikes. There is Cliff.
Microphone must have got wet.
Because he wasn't prepared. He didn't have it all covered up.
Nope, he didn't. Or either that, he's looking for a towel.
Well, Cliff did not fare all that well in his last rehab outing. He got hit around a little bit, but he got his pitches in, which was the most important thing. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jason Hayward. And that one misses in. It's 2-2. All right, we have received confirmation that Murph is alive, but his microphone is not working. But Cliff Lee is starting on Monday night at Citizens Bank Park. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Burnett. And there are 2 outs for Chris Johnson.
Well, and you said the important thing is it doesn't really matter his numbers, as we see this curveball down and in, which AJ's been leaving up the zone early in the game, but it's nice to see him get on top of it and bury it at the back foot. But I think the big thing for Cliff is to bounce back the next day and how he feels. You get up to the 75 to 80 pitch range. All right, that's great. And let's see how all of a sudden the next day when you're going in and doing your exercises, how you feel.
There's a base hit by Chris Johnson. Yeah, how you do with your exercises, even how you do with your next, your next bullpen appearance. Murph, have we found your microphone? Are you okay, buddy?
I'm just fine. Yeah, we had a couple technical difficulties there, but we're back to normal.
We were standing by.
Yeah. Here's what I was going to say when you asked me before, Tom. I was going to tell you that Cliff Lee had his final rehab start in Clearwater, and he got hit around a little bit. He allowed 3 runs. He allowed 8 hits and a walk. But Ryan Sandberg talked to him today and talked about that start today. And Cliff was saying, it was one of those things where kind of everything just happened. Great throw by Cameron Ruff, but not in time. So safe at second base. He said in that game, kind of everything happened. You look at the numbers and you think, he didn't pitch all that well, but Cliff felt like he pitched just fine, and he's looking forward to starting on Monday. And he also said that he doesn't know how many pitches they'll let him throw, but he's hoping to be able to go deep in the game and have no restrictions. So we'll wait and see on that one.
Yeah, they said they didn't want to allow him to start until he could go 5 or 6 innings, preferably 6. In fact, Cliff said that. 1 ball, no strikes to La Stella, with Chris Johnson at second base with his 3rd stolen base of the year. That one's in there for strike 1. It's 1-1. Ryan Sandberg also said when asked about Roberto Hernandez starting Tuesday instead of David Buchanan, he said it's more of a veteran thing than anything else at this point, because Hernandez is more of a veteran. Now, will that change? It could as the season moves on. As Ashley fields that one, throws low, dug out by Howard. Side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left in scoring position. That we fixed Murph's microphone. So everything's fine as we go to the 4th, except for the score. To work the first time every time Order from WB Mason by 11:30 a.m. and get free same-day delivery. Nobody beats WB on HP. We'll go to the top of the 4th inning. It's 4-2 in favor of the Braves. It'll be Ryan Howard, Marlon Byrd, and Grady Sizemore against Irvin Santana. Irvin Santana, it almost looks as if sometimes that we're disturbing him when he's out on the mound. I mean, he moves around so slowly. He's got this relaxed, kind of cool body language.
He's always been that way. Always. Even with the Anaheim Angels. It's like you just want to go out there and
light a fire under him. Howard walked his first time up. Takes upstairs, 1-0. Howard and Byrd both walked in their first at bats. Fly ball left center field. B.J. Upton says he has it and makes the catch for the first out. Brothers always arguing. And now Marlon Byrd's coming up. Marlon walked and scored his first time. You've been where Marlon Byrd is right now and where some of the other Phillies players are. I mean, you're only a couple weeks away from the trade deadline. Does it affect you at all as you get older in this game?
I wouldn't say it affects you. I would think if you're a guy middle of your career and your name's floating around, then you start thinking about it. But as an older guy, it is what it is. You know, it's baseball. Me personally, I never wanted to be traded.
Because you were comfortable wherever it was that you were. Is that part of it?
Yeah, I mean, it was. Don't get me wrong. I wanted to win a championship very bad. But when I signed with the team, I knew from when I signed with them how they were going to be. You know, so going to Kansas City, we lost 100 and felt like we lost 200 games that year. Well, I signed because I knew we were on a rebuilding stage.
Right.
And then one veteran come in, so I said yes, I'll go there. Stayed there, took the lumps and bumps. Got traded the following year from Kansas City, but. It is what it is. I mean, yeah, you want the ring, but it's very easy to say I want out and go to a championship or a contender.
I guess because Marlon's been through it before. In fact, was through it last year. It didn't seem to affect him last season. So whatever he did in 2013, I guess you do the same thing in 2014.
Well, and it's bottom line is you're putting up good numbers. So if you're on a team that's struggling and you have a chance to go to a contender, so be it. The player has no say unless, you know, he has the 4 teams that he cannot be traded to unless he waivers it.
Cliff Lee is kind of in the same boat. I mean, he's been traded before. Seattle traded him to Texas. Indians traded him to the Phillies. Marlon hits it into foul territory down the right field line. Freeman on the run makes the catch. Two outs here in the 4th.
Well, didn't Cliff Lee get traded from Montreal as well?
Right. As a young player.
As a young player with Grady Sizemore.
For Bartolo Colon.
Grady was in that trade, right? With Cliff?
Grady Sizemore,
that's right.
Cliff Lee, Brandon Phillips.
That's right.
Huh. That was a haul for Cleveland.
So, Tom, to answer your question, it should not bother a veteran player. You just go out, you play the game, and if it happens, it happens.
Sizemore singled his first time up, but it's no balls in one strike. We say it shouldn't, and sometimes it does.
Sometimes it does.
Breaking ball, and it's 0-2.
It was funny because when I got traded from Toronto to Philadelphia, they would not tell me where I was going. They couldn't tell me until the next day. We had a long game in Chicago. They had to call up some pitchers, had an extra inning game. So I sat, I don't know where I sat, besides at the hotel. I was in that neutral zone where I couldn't go to the team yet until they made a roster move the next day. But they could not tell me where I was going.
So you were still in Toronto, or wherever Toronto was?
We were in Tampa. They flew to New York. I stayed in Tampa until a roster spot opened up.
And then you flew to Chicago. Is that where because that's where the Phillies were. Right. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Sizemore. Inside 1-2.
I mean, when they told me I was traded, I was angry. I said, well, where am I going? They wouldn't tell me. I got more angry. Can I say more angry? Is that a good word?
Angrier.
Angrier.
Yeah.
And then when they told me where I was finally going, I said, I'll pay my trip and I'll meet you there. I'll get there quicker.
But you had a pretty good idea that you were going to Philadelphia, didn't you?
I guessed it. Yeah.
Ground ball right side. LaStella diving attempt, and it gets into right center field. They were shading him to pull. Grady Sizemore is 2 for 2. That'll bring Cody Ashley to the plate, who just missed a grand slam his last time up, but got a sac fly.
Well, change up low and away, and you're right, Tom. They had them playing pull, which is interesting because it's a first game back after a break. But Grady's happy that he was playing them to pull and hit the ball up the middle.
Well, now Ashew picked up his 30th RBI his last time up. Cody has not swung the bat all that well statistically against the Braves this year. 1 for 21. Outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Bethencourt dug that one out of the dirt. Both teams are using young catchers because their starting catchers are both on the disabled list. Bethencourt is catching for Evan Gattis. Gattis is rehabbing this weekend. There's a broken bat roller. It hits Sizemore, and the inning is over. I guess that was more than a roller. It was a one hopper that was hit softly, and Sizemore couldn't get out of the way. The side is retired. So the Phillies leave 1 here in the 4th. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Braves 4, Phillies 2. Honda.com. By AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. Bottom of the fourth inning here in Atlanta, Georgia, with the Phillies and the Braves facing off. It's the first of a 3-game series. Night game again tomorrow, day game on Sunday. A.J. Burnett so far has allowed 4 runs on 6 hits. All 4 runs came in the second. And he'll face Bethancourt, Irvin Santana, and B.J. Upton as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Bethancourt looped a single to left field his first time up, and then he came around to score. So he's 1 for 1, his average at .273. Outside, it's 1-0. Braves are kind of hoping that the beginning of the second half will lead them to success in the National League East, if only because they're going to get a chance to come home and play some games. In fact, they opened the second half with 11 games here at Turner Field. They were on the road for a long road trip going into the All-Star break. And they have 21 of their next 29 here in Atlanta. Bethancourt goes after a pitch that was out of the strike zone. It's 2-1. Check swing. He went according to Phil Cuzzy. It's 2-2. Now the Braves have been better here at Turner Field than, of course, the Phillies have been at Citizens Bank Park. They're 25-19. So 44 games so far at home compared to 51 on the road for the Braves. Swing and a miss. He threw 3 straight pitches in that general area. 2-3 on the putout. One away. And Irvin Santana's coming to the plate. Now, from a Phillies standpoint, we mentioned this during the Open. 67 games left, counting this one. 35 against the East and 34 against first and second place teams. Now, home and road is kind of split. It's not that big of a deal from a Phillies standpoint, but they have to play better at home. And we've been saying this all year. It's been one of the big storylines for 2014.
They need to get on a run. They need to go home and play 12 games and go 10-2 or 11-1 or whatever it's going to be. They need to get on a run somewhere. I don't care if it's a road or at home, but we've seen it. We've seen the 4-game sweep in Milwaukee. Last time they were here in Atlanta Braves, they swept 3 of the games. So it's there. It's just a matter of putting it all together and getting it done.
Yeah, that's the tease that this season's been. I think anyway. I think the Brewers series and the series here against Atlanta, those have been kind of teases for the Phillies fans. Even what they did in St. Louis when they won 2 of those 4 games, and how well they played in St. Louis too.
Well, it's just being consistent and trying to, and they really have been. We talk about just be consistent throughout the year. Well, they really haven't been consistent.
No, they haven't.
They've struggled majority of the time, and then they'll go in that spurt where, okay, well, maybe we are going to be buyers, or we're not going to sell right now. And then all of a sudden you have the last 2 games before the break against Washington. So they just need to lock it in and get on a streak.
Well, that's 4 strikeouts now for Burnett over the last couple innings, 2 outs. And B.J. Upton's coming to the plate. B.J. doubled home run his last time up and then scored. So he's 1 for 2. It's getting kind of soupy here in Atlanta. The rain's picking up a little bit. First pitch slips. And it's 1 ball and no strikes. You can see the rain through the lights. Two balls and no strikes to B.J. Upton. think the Braves can survive with Upton as their leadoff batter, or they have to find somebody to be their leadoff hitter?
Well, good question.
Thank you very much.
Murph? No. You know what? If he, I don't know. If he starts swinging the bat while getting on base, yes. If not, you can drop him back low in the order, and you have to go find a leadoff guy.
We'll put Hayward back up there, although Hayward's swinging the bat well in the middle of the lineup. We'll go to the top of the 5th inning. The Phillies' bottom of the order will be up when we get back. Trivia quiz answer. All right, Matt, here's your question one more time. Who was the last Atlanta Brave to lead the National League in strikeouts?
Well, you said it could not be a left-hander when we were talking off air, so I will say John Smoltz.
John Smoltz is correct. 276 strikeouts in 1996. You can log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack. Cameron Rupp will lead it off as we go to the top of the 5th. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike to Rupp. John Smoltz was as diverse a pitcher with, just talent as you're going to find in Major League Baseball. To close the way he closed, but also to be as dominant a starting pitcher as he was. That one's floated out toward right. Hayward comes gliding in. 1 out. And A.J. Burnett's coming up here at the top of the 5th. Murph, what do you got going on, buddy?
Well, I'll tell you, guys were just talking about what the Phils need to do in order to, kind of make this a little bit interesting in the second half of the season. Try to go on a run, as you guys said, whether it be at home or away. Well, I'm an optimistic kind of fellow, so I went to the numbers. It is our Coors Light Cold Hard Fact, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. And over the last 10 seasons, the Phillies have posted the best record in the National League after the All-Star break, winning percentage of .581. Only the Yankees have been better in all of Major League Baseball. So now I would imagine that a lot of those seasons were 07, 08, 09, but it's something to look at and hope that they can get on a little bit of a roll in the second half and maybe close the gap and make this interesting.
Yeah, and be better in this second half than they were last season.
Yeah.
25-41 in last season's second half. You're right, though, Murph. That has been a staple, at least for Charlie Manuel's teams in past years, is to be effective in the second half. Now, the horizon looks a little different for this team as far as changes go. We don't know what changes will be made. It does seem like there will be some changes. Whether there's wholesale changes or not remains to be seen, as Freeman over the railing makes the catch. And there are 2 outs, but that I mean, I guess you guys would agree that would dictate their success or failure in the second half of this year, right?
Yeah, and I think honestly, to have a great run, you have to have a pitcher step up and to be that Cy Young caliber second half, and you need one of your big guys to be up and be your MVP the second half. And I'm talking put up ridiculous numbers. Ryan Howard has to go up there and basically carry this team on his back and have someone go out there and get a W every time he starts.
Yeah, Murph, what did Schmitty say the other day? Somebody needs to be player of the month offensively?
Yeah, that's exactly what he said, player of the month kind of. And I agree with Matt in that I actually think you're absolutely going to need Cole Hamels and Cliff Lee to pitch like aces for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks if you're going to hope to get back into this thing.
And Revere hits one down the left field line and out of play. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Revere 0 for 2. He's grounded out twice, once to first, once to short. And it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Santana has not been 100% sharp. He's got 6 3-ball counts tonight. Now, with all that said, he's only allowed 4 hits. He's walked 3, but he's only allowed the 4 hits. Three-2 pitch to Revere. Chopper back toward the middle. Simmons to his left. The side is retired, so the Phillies are retired in order here in the top of the 5th. We've played 4.5 on to the bottom of the 5th inning with the Braves up by 2. Time for a page for the official playbook of good citizenship, brought to you by Citizens Bank. Did you know that the Red Goes Green team can be seen at every Phillies home game, collecting recyclable plastic and aluminum bottles throughout Citizens Bank Park? For information on volunteering for the Red Goes Green team, visit Phillies.com/Red Goes Green. Good banking is simple, clear, and personal, and that's helping you bank better. Citizens Bank, good banking is good citizenship. Bottom of the 5th inning. Phillies trail at 4-2. The rain's picked up just a little bit, although the playing field looks absolutely fine. Oh, we get set for the second half, of course. It's still time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag #PhillyFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast, brought to you by AT&T. Simmons 1 for 2 with a couple RBIs as the batter. as we begin the home fifth. Fouls it away. It's 0-1. It'll be Simmons, Freeman, and Justin Upton. Breaking ball 0-2. Boy, aside from that second inning, but even in that second inning, the home run by Hayward was hit well, of course, and the double by Upton. But A.J. Burnett's pitched pretty well tonight, aside from that second where he allowed the 4 runs.
Well, we saw Hayward hit the home run to right field on a changeup. I don't think we've seen a changeup since then. And now he's getting command of his curveball, low and away, and getting guys to swing over top of it.
That one's in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Simmons. Chopper to second base. Utley. Okay, there's 1 out. Comcast Sportsnet would like to invite you to the We Live Phillies Sports Festival at the Please Touch Museum tomorrow morning from 9 a.m. until noon. Play games, win prizes, meet that guy. Ricky Vitalico is wearing that backpack that all kids 14 and under will receive if they go out to the Phillies Sports Festival. We Live Phillies Sports Festival. At noon will be the Phillies Sports Parade. Mark Zumoff, Ricky Bowe, Leslie Goodell, Danny Pomel, Swoop, the Fanatic, all will be part of it. There's a sharply hit ground ball to shallow right. Utley takes care of Freeman. There are 2 outs here in the 5th. And Justin Upton's coming up. Upton is 0 for 2. He's popped out and he is struck out tonight. That one's whacked foul past Doug DeCenzo. 0-1. You know, the other part of this National League East race that is going to help decide who's going to win it, I think, is what the 2 teams at the top do against other teams in the division and what they do head to head. The Braves are 7-3 against the Nationals this year. Now, they lost the last 2 in Washington the last time they faced them. They had won 7 of the first 8. Braves are 25-17 against the East, and the Nationals 19-14. They probably, well, they have to play better than that against the rest of the East. That's a fair ball. Howard was late to go after it. It was hit pretty hard, and Upton's on his way to second, and he'll get there standing. 20th double of the year for Justin Upton.
This is the curveball where it's just Reaction hits the ball to the right of to the left of Ryan Howard and kind of freezes him for a second, not expecting that ball to come that way. And Marlon Byrd does a nice job of stopping the ball and crushing that wall and keeping him to a double.
Marlon Byrd, I know that one ball that dropped in front of him tonight, but he just goes hard every single time, whether it be running or going after a ball like that. I mean, look how hard he went into the fence when he was going into the corner to try to stop that one from getting past him. Jason Hayward homered his first time up, struck out his last time up. Fastball inside, 1-0. And now Rupp and Burnett will have a conversation. They've pretty much been on the same page most of the night.
They have.
Outside 2-0 to Jason Hayward.
Well, back in the second, he gets that changeup. We talked about damming into a left-hander, one of the easiest balls to hit out of the ballpark for a power left-handed hitter. And
he broke his bat. He loops one into left field. Upton's going to score. He's already around third. It's an RBI single. 5-2. Braves on top here in the fifth. Well, that's 4 runs that have scored with 2 outs in tonight's ball game.
well, once the fastball inside, if anything, it's up a little bit. It came back over just enough for him to break his bat and get jammed hit the ball to left field. I think the pitch selection was right, as long as it didn't come back over the middle of the plate a little bit too much.
Which is what it did.
Yeah.
Now Chris Johnson. Johnson singled his last time up. Hayward is a threat to run. He has stolen 11 bags. He's been caught 4 times. Johnson 1 for 2. Grounded out his first time up. Having a decent year, hitting .279. Not the same kind of year he had last year when he was second in the National League in hitting at .321. He has torn it up against left-handed pitching. Against lefties, he's hitting .439 this year. There's a changeup, but it's 0-2. Tonight's ball game is also available in Spanish. Just use the SAP button on your television or change the language through the menu on your cable box. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, we talked earlier when we saw that graphic of how the Braves have been swinging in the month of July. I have said it. Jamie has said it. Mike Schmidt has said it. Hitters are starting to feel too comfortable. And you can tell by some of the swings they're taking tonight. When you feel comfortable and you know you own home plate and there's no fear.
There you go. There's another base hit. Yep. Out to left field. Hayward stops at second. Another 2-strike hit. The Braves have something going again with 2 outs. Phillies down 5-2 here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
And when we talk about pitching inside for a purpose, it doesn't mean one pitch throughout a game. Maybe in an inning you might move some feet maybe 3, maybe 4 times. And it doesn't have to be to the one guy every time. Just they need to have in the back of their mind saying, okay, if I'm looking out over the plate, I might get a fastball inside which might flip me. And all of a sudden now hitters have to decide inside or outside. But right now the Atlanta Braves have that attack zone with fastballs in, fastballs away, curveballs, because everyone's leaning out over the plate because there's no fear of any pitch coming inside to keep you honest.
Well, is that why they're having such success with 2 strikes too?
For sure. I mean, and of course, pitch selection, maybe the curveball, but that's where a pitcher has to say, you know what, I see these guys are out over the plate. I'm going to keep these guys honest.
Jim Wolf says that LaStella went around. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. I think I agree with everything that you guys have been saying about that. The thing that you sit there and you scratch your head, it's a veteran staff. Yeah. You know, you have David Buchanan, who was a youngster, obviously, but beyond that, it's a veteran staff. There's a base hit to center field. Hayward's going to score. Over to third will go Johnson, and it's now a 6-2 ball game. Another run with 2 outs, so all but one of the runs scored tonight for the Braves have come with 2 outs. If the Phillies bullpen has not started loosening yet, and I guess they haven't, they will now. So first and third with 2 men down, 2 runs are in here in this inning. And Christian Bethancourt will be the hitter against A.J. Burnett. Now, because the Phillies are 11 under 500, could that be one of the reasons why? I'm not saying that. I mean, because every game's different.
Right.
But they're 11 under 500. Is that part of the reason? But I guess we've seen this, you know, this sort of comfortable feeling, even when they were still within reach in this race.
Well, as a hitter, I used to see who was pitching and how many hits batsmen he would have.
So you would look at that?
Oh, yeah. Because it just tells you if he's going to throw one side or not.
0-1 to Bethancourt. 10 hits now for the Braves. There's a foul ball. It's 0-2. This has been a storyline tonight. 2 strikes. Putting the hitters away with 2 strikes. Hollins and Manship. Swing and a miss. Bethancourt is down on strikes, and they'll complete the strikeout with a toss over to first. Side is retired. 2 more score. And we've played 5 innings here in Atlanta. The Phillies down 6-2 as we go to the top of the 6th inning, looking for a little offense from 2, 3, and 4 when we get back. Back end of games for the Phils. Consistent and dominating in the first half of the season, Jonathan enters the second half tied for 6th in saves with 22 and is carrying the 3rd lowest ERA at 1.29 amongst National League save leaders. He became just the 8th pitcher in MLB history to record 20-plus saves in 9 consecutive seasons. When Papelbon has got the call, he has delivered. And it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Well, the grounds crews come out and they're doing a little manicuring to the foot of the mound. Ervin Santana asked for a little assistance in between innings, so he hasn't even started his warm-up tosses yet. Christian Bethencourt, who made the last out in the bottom of the 5th inning, is just now walking out to behind home plate. Yeah, rain's been falling since the start of this ball game. A.J. Burnett, as he went into the dugout, not too pleased with the way that inning unfolded. 2 runs scored with 2 outs. Not sure what he's frustrated about or what he's bugged about. But he's a competitive guy. He's given up 5 runs with 2 outs in this outing. 6 runs overall on 10 base hits. So his spot is not due up in this inning. It'll be Rollins, Utley, and Ryan Howard. Those guys are the ones due up for the Phillies here in the top of the 6th inning. A.J. Burnett, with his strikeouts tonight, is now tied with Doc Gooden for 48th all time. And he's 10 away from tying Juan Marichal. So he's tied with Doc, and he's closing in on Juan Marichal. Now, this just has not been his night as he's begun the second half. So now Ervin Santana, he likes the way the mound looks now and feels, so he'll begin his warm-up tosses as we go to the top of the 6th inning. Well, while we have a moment, it's time to show you our AT&T fan photo of the game. This one comes from Pierce 12188. A selfie from the Citizens Bank Park parking lot. You can tweet your photo to hashtag #PhillyFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. Jimmy Rollins will lead it off. Rollins 0 for 1. He's grounded out. He's also walked. But Danglehat was smiling at the start of this ball game because the Phillies had jumped out to a 2-0 lead. But since jumping out to a 2-0 lead, they've watched the Braves score 6 unanswered runs. We start the 6th, and Ervin Santana delivers low. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Rollins was taking all the way. He was still doing a few of his practice swings as Santana was coming to the plate. I mentioned before, this has not been a sharp Ervin Santana. 20 batters, 7 first pitch strikes, 6 3-ball counts. And he's at 89 pitches now, with this one coming to Rollins with the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ground ball to first, off the glove of Freeman. And Rollins will be bored on an E3. It'll be the 5th error of the season on Freddie Freeman.
Well, you don't see this very often. He stays down on it and kind of comes up a little bit, but if anything, he just didn't get over far enough to get in front of it. But I always like watching infielders when there's an error. They automatically look back at the dirt because it's the dirt's fault.
And he did do that. They look back at the dirt, or you look back at your glove.
Yeah.
Utley's aboard, or Utley's at the plate. He's 0 for 2, and he takes a strike. It's 0 and 1. Now, they're not alone in doing that. People have done that ever since Little League. Two. Here's to Budweiser. Here's to baseball. draws a throw. I don't think Rollins is a threat to run based on the way he was moving around earlier in the ball game. That one's pulled down the right field line. That'll be in for a base hit. Rollins hesitated for a moment, but he'll still get to third. Utley will pull into second. It's the first double for Chase Utley during a regular season game since the 7th of June. But it's his second double of the week because he had one in the All-Star game. So the Phillies have 2 in scoring position with nobody out.
It's nice to see you got an off-speed pitch up in the zone, and when that pitch is inside, fastball, curveball, change, it doesn't matter. Not too many hitters in baseball have a quick swing as he does to cover that ball inside and to keep it fair, which is impressive.
Well, it was kind of like his swing the other night in the All-Star game against Leicester, the double to right center field. You know, just how quick he got to the ball. Howard breaks his bat. He loops it to left center field. Read beautifully by Utley. He's around third, trailing Rollins. Both will score. It's a 6-4 ball game. A 2-run single for Ryan Howard. Well, the Phils are back in this one, down by 2 here in the 6th. RBIs 57 and 58 for Ryan Howard.
Well, it doesn't matter where you hit it. It's all about placement. Fastball inside. And Chase just heads up base running, knowing they have the shift, and know that there's no way he's going to catch that ball in left field off contact, and scores very easily.
And still nobody out. Marlon Byrd is coming up. Inside, 1 ball and no strikes. Navarro is the right-hander warming up for the Braves. Ball, 1 strike to Bird. 1 ball and 2 strikes as he fouls that one over the tarp. Bird is struck out, so 1 away here in the 6th. And Grady Sizemore is coming up.
That's probably one of the best off-speed pitches he's thrown tonight. Down the zone, and Marlon Byrd swung over top of it.
First strikeout of the night for Irvin Santana. Without Grady Sizemore, Sizemore is 2 for 2. Overall, his average is at .226, counting his time with the Red Sox. He's 5 for 14 as a Phil. He grounds it foul past one Somewell. In the air to right field. It's going to be foul. That was a hanger. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. Another ground ball foul, and he stays alive. Santana's due to lead off the bottom of the 6th inning, so the Braves are trying to get him through this one. One ball, 2 strikes to Sizemore. In the dirt, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Kid moves pretty well behind home plate, Bethancourt. Figure he'll go back down when Gaddis comes back, as they have Laird as a backup. Doman as kind of an emergency guy. Two pitch to Sizemore. Fly ball left center field. It'll slice back toward Justin Upton. Two away. Cody Ashley's coming up. After the Phillies take on the San Francisco Giants, they'll entertain the Arizona Diamondbacks on Friday, July 25th. It's Christmas in July at Citizens Bank Park. Saturday the 26th at the W.B. Mason Collectible Truck, free to fans 14 and under. And on Sunday the 27th, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 98 Cole Hamels T-shirt, free to fans 14 and under. Order your tickets now by going to Phillies.com. Now with 2 outs, Cody Ashley's up. Phillies down 2. Ground ball scooped up by Freddie Freeman, and the side is retired. It was Freeman's error that started the rally for the Phils that led to a 2-run base hit by Ryan Howard. Middle of the 6th, it's the Braves 6 and the Phillies 4. And save big today. By Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. By Budweiser, here's to Budweiser, here's to baseball. And by W.B. Mason, you can't go wrong when you buy right. Bottom of the 6th inning, Phillies down 2, 6-4. They got a couple more against Urban Santana, whose night is done. He'll hang on the bench and watch as Freddie Gonzalez will adjust his lineup card. Taking congratulations from Jason Hayward. Jeff Manship takes over for the Phils here in the bottom of the 6th inning. So A.J. Burnett's done after 5 innings. A.J. charged with 6 runs on 10 base hits. So Jeff Manship will be the new pitcher for the Phils. He'll face Tyler Pasternicki, who was just called up from the minor leagues today. Pastornicki had been banged up with a sore knee. It's the same knee he hurt last year against the Phils. All right, so Manship clears the slate for the Phillies. They're down by 2, and he's trying to keep this at a 2-run deficit. Mario Hollins warming up in the bullpen. Kenny Giles just getting his arm loosened up next to Rod Nichols on the bench. Pastornicki takes a strike. It's 0-1. He has seen Major League time this year. 7 for 35 this season in a Braves uniform. Well, no starter wants to be lifted after 5, but I think this was the right move by Ryan Sandberg. Those 2-out hits. Oof.
Yeah, and I think that has a lot to do with him being frustrated in the dugout. He threw too many strikes. That might sound weird, but he has 2 strike on hitters. Didn't put them away tonight. Left pitches up in the zone, and they get hit hard.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Pastornicki. Chopper out towards second, not hit that hard. And 1 away here in the 6th. That'll bring DJ Upton to the plate. Upton's 1 for 3. Ball and no strikes to Upton. Chase Simmons is the right-hander warming up in the bullpen for the Braves. Good spot by Manship on that fastball. Good velocity too. 93 on that one. Upton has 1 of the 10 hits for the Braves. Every time the Phillies pitchers retire the opposition 1-2-3, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. A.J. Burnett did it once tonight. That was in the 4th. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. That's a good put away pitch right there. So 2 outs. And Simmons is coming up.
And we came back to a nice fastball earlier at 93, and very nice location with that curveball right there, low and away.
Well, here's the spot where the Phillies have struggled here tonight. 9 of the 10 hits have come with 2 outs. Now, we mentioned the problem that A.J. Burnett had with 2 strike hits.
He gave up 4 2-strike hits tonight.
Well, and they were significant.
Yep.
Sometimes you give him up, it's like, well, no big deal. You get the next guy. It's not that huge a deal. But tonight, 2-strike, 2-out hits have been a big deal. Check swing, 2-1. Chopper left side. Rollins backhands, flips on the run in time to get Simmons. The side is retired in order. Second time tonight, the Phillies are retired. The Braves 1-2-3. But the pitchers tonight, I would say both pitchers kind of struggled tonight in their first game after the All-Star break. A.J. Burnett, 10 hits, 9 with 2 outs, 4 with 2 strikes. He allowed 6 earned runs. Irvin Santana, 3 walks, 6 hits, and 6 innings of work. All right, Matt, it's time now for our Hyundai defensive plays of the game. I think this was a big double play right here.
It was. At first and second, A.J. tries to do the slug bunt. And Freeman gets a good feed to second base. And then Chase Utley comes up and just another ground ball. He's in trouble and makes a quality pitch and gets out of the inning. And those are your defensive plays of the game, brought to you by Hyundai.
Well, now Shea Simmons will take over for the Braves as we go to the top of the 7th inning. Simmons in his 22nd game, 1-0, an ERA of 1.42. He's averaged a strikeout per inning of work.
Well, this kid has a electric arm. Tops out at 97 miles an hour. Has a very good slider and also throws an 84 to 85 mile an hour split finger fastball.
Well, we've mentioned this in the 2 occasions that we've seen the Braves and the Phillies. Not his 2 occasions because he's been in there a bunch of times, but he reminds you so much of Craig Kimbrell. He doesn't have the same stuff, but he's got the same sort of size. I don't want to say the same exact delivery, but it's very similar. You know, we say he doesn't have the same stuff. I mean, his fastball's maybe a mile or 2 off. And Rupp is down on 3 pitches. 1 out here in the 7th. Well, Charlie Manuel is the next inductee in the Phillies Wall of Fame, and this is a huge night, and it's certainly a much-deserved honor. It's Saturday, August 9th, when the Phillies take on the New York Mets. It's Toyota Alumni Weekend. Charlie will be enshrined in the Phillies Wall of Fame in a moving pregame ceremony, and you also get a commemorative print to all fans, compliments of Toyota. Order your tickets now by going to Phillies.com. It'd be great to fill the ballpark up for folks to get a chance to say thank you to Charlie Manuel. Wouldn't you agree with that, Matt? You never want to tell people what they should do, obviously, but the all-time winningest manager in Phillies history, 2 World Series appearances. It's nice to give him that kind of a night.
It would be, and I'm looking forward to it. I know I have that week off, and I have a bunch of buddies coming down from Canada, but I'll be around and I'll be watching the ceremony, that's for sure. I would not miss it.
No balls and 1 strike to Tony Gwynn. If you've read any of the newspaper or internet accounts of the Phillies minor league teams, you know that Charlie's been around recently. He's been visiting the different teams, Reading, Lehigh Valley, Lakewood. Chopper off the plate. And Simmons will take care of Tony Gwynn. 2 outs here in the 7th.
Well, the thing about Charlie's that tremendous manager. He did a lot for the city of Philadelphia and the organization, but he's also a tremendous hitting coach. And he travels around, he talks to the minor league teams, and he pulls certain guys aside and gives them little pointers on hitting. And that's something that I don't think he got a lot of credit for over his career. That he knew the technique of hitting. Yeah. He knew how to teach it. He put it simple.
Well, I was going to say his ideas about it are very simple and very direct. Well, I haven't seen him. Gosh, I haven't seen him since last year. I've talked to him. You know, we've exchanged text messages and things like that. Charlie does text.
He has Twitter now.
He is on Twitter. No balls, 1 strike to Ben Revere. One ball and 1 strike to Revere. Every once in a while, I'll get a text message from him saying, "I'm watching you, Tom." 2 balls, 1 strike to Revere. Ben has grounded out 3 times tonight. Simmons has taken care of him twice. Now it's 3-1.
I'd like to see him take this pitch right here. Need some runners.
Down the left field line, Upton on the run and makes the catch in foul territory, and the side is retired. Time to stretch here in Atlanta. The Phillies are retired in order. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th, or bottom of the 7th, excuse me. Phillies down 2. To the bottom of the 7th inning, the Phillies trail at 6-4. Antonio Bastardo will take over on the mound. 42nd game, he's 4-3 with an ERA of 3.46. And his charge is to keep this at a 2-run ball game, give the Phil's offense an opportunity in the 8th and 9th innings. 51 strikeouts at 41 2/3. He's on the face. Freddie Freeman, Justin Upton, and Jason Hayward. After Jeff Manship throws a scoreless inning. Well, the Phillies pet calendar will be available at Phillies.com on the community section. Net proceeds for the sale of the $15 calendar will benefit the Pennsylvania SPCA. It's an 18-month calendar featuring your favorite players with their 4-legged friends or adoptable pets, courtesy of the Pennsylvania SPCA. Again, go to Phillies.com and go to the communities section. It's also on sale at Citizens Bank Park. Oh, on a rainy night here in Georgia, the Phillies trail at 6-4. Freddie Freeman will lead things off. Look at his numbers against Bastardo. You forget about that. How dominating Bastardo has been against some of these young Braves left-handed batters, including Freddie Freeman. Doesn't matter how accomplished you are as a hitter, there are some pitchers, I know you can attest to this, Matt, you just can't hit.
You don't pick the ball up out of their hand. For some reason, they throw a pitch that you're not looking for usually. You guess wrong all the time. No idea why it is.
And eventually it just gets into your head, I would think. 0-2.
My guy was Arthur Rhodes. 0 for 17. Years. Didn't get a hit against him for 17 years, wow, including the minor leagues.
Oh, really?
Finally got a hit and asked for the baseball.
Ground ball right side. Well, there you go again. Utley's up with it, and there's one out. Justin Upton's coming up. And Murph, I think that Arthur Rhodes could have pitched until he was 50 if he chose to.
Yeah, he probably could have, especially if Matt was the batter, I guess.
That's exactly right.
How about the Major League Notebook, guys, brought to you by Gwinnett Mercer University. The Houston Astros and their top pick, Brady Aiken, failed to come to an agreement today before the deadline. It is only the third time in Major League history that the #1 pick has failed to sign. He is committed, Aiken is, to UCLA, so he could go to college. He could go to junior college and re-enter the draft next year. But because of this, the Astros will get the #2 pick next season, but their #1 pick not going to be a Houston Astro. There were some concerns with his elbow that caused some problems, but all in all, it's a real bad situation for the Houston Astros. And 2 stories from the New York Yankees. Masahiro Tanaka going to avoid surgery, going to try rehab to help that ailing elbow of his. And CC Sabathia will indeed have knee surgery. His season is over, guys.
Yeah, the Yankees are hoping that he is back by spring training. Some people think that he may not be back at all, but they're hoping he'll be back by spring training. And, the whole Brady Aiken thing, I think it's a shame. I mean, I think it's sad. Now, Tony Clark, Murph, I don't know if you saw this or not, but Tony Clark, who's the Major League Baseball Players Association leader, has come out and said that the Players Association feels like the Astros conducted business unfairly. The Astros have said that they haven't. Major League Baseball, in past comments, has said the Astros have done everything according to the books, but I don't think the story's over with right now.
It may not be done with yet, but the bottom line is he's not going to get into any camps. He's not going to get a chance to throw for the Astros anytime soon, so he's going to have to make a decision for his future, what's best for him. It's a tough situation, but those deadlines are there for a reason. They had some concerns about a ligament in his elbow. They decided it wasn't worth the original offer. They lessened the offer, and they couldn't come to an agreement. So I would be really surprised at this point if they were able to come to some kind of agreement after the fact. I don't think that will happen.
Well, how about the fact that the latest report, the last offer was $5 million.
Yeah.
Got to be a confident young man to turn down $5 million. But Revere is under this one, makes the catch. By the way, the Phillies signed 28 of their draft picks. That was what they expected they would sign. So they felt like everything was as productive as it should have been, which is a great thing. Well, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Jason Hayward is the batter. Got to be a confident kid, Matt, to turn down $5 million.
Yeah, you do. Which is very interesting, especially when there's concerns with his elbow.
You wonder if the Astros had signed him to the reported, I'm not saying that was confirmed, but the reported $5 million offer. If he would have thrown, what would they have done? The other offer for their second pick was a verbal one, and he didn't sign either. It was according to reports, $1.6 million. Two balls, no strikes to Jason Hayward. 2 RBIs tonight. Now the 2-2 pitch to Hayward. In the dirt, 3-2. Johnson's on deck. Kodiashi on the outfield grass near foul territory puts it away, and the side is retired in order. So Manship and Bastardo have combined to retire all 6 batters they've faced. We'll go to the 8th with the Phils down 2. Where will Toyota take you? Visit buyatoyota.com to find out. Toyota, let's go places. Buy McDonald's. Any size hot or iced coffee is just $1. McDonald's. I'm loving it. And buy Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. Top of the 8th inning. Phillies trail at 6-4. New pitcher for the Braves is right-hander Jordan Walden. 0-1, an ERA of 2.67. 37 strikeouts in 27 innings of work. And he'll take over for Shea Simmons. Simmons worked a perfect 1-2-3 7th inning. It'll be Rollins, Utley, and Howard. 2, 3, and 4 for the Phils.
Well, one thing you're going to see from Jordan Walden is that he jumps at you with every pitch. One of the different deliveries I've ever seen in baseball. And to boot, he throws 95 to 98 miles an hour with a slider and a changeup. But it's that initial push off with that back leg that jumps at you.
Inside, it's 1-0. I'm stunned that he throws as hard as he throws with this delivery. I mean, aren't you? As a baseball player? Also stunned that he's never hurt himself. But I guess he's gotten to the point where mechanically, he's so used to it.
Yep, he repeats it every time. And if I'm not mistaken, when he was in Anaheim, he had a very good cutter to go with that 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
He doesn't throw it as much anymore?
No, I don't think he throws it anymore.
See that fastball at 95.
He's definitely a pitcher that you have to look up in the zone, because I don't think he can get down on the zone consistently with that fastball the way he jumps at you.
Phillies need base runners. They're down by 2. They got to bring the tying run to the plate. It's remarkable. I know we talk about it every time we face the Braves. There's ball 4. So Rollins works out a walk. It's the second walk tonight for Rollins. Watch, he lifts. Whoop.
I think the difference right there is just his front leg almost does the double kick. His back leg really doesn't leave the surface.
Right. I mean, you're saying his back doesn't leave the surface at all?
The back toe, it stays, it drags.
It does drag.
Yeah.
But it does lift for a little bit.
Well, as long as he stays up in the zone and keeps on walking guys, he can do it all he wants.
Well, here is Utley with a runner at first. He's the tying run here in the top of the 8th. Fouls it away. It barely leaves the ground. One ball, one strike to Chase. For years, there have been pitchers that have, sort of worked their way around the rules. You're not supposed to break the rubber. You're supposed to be in contact with the rubber. I mean, the guy that's in the TV booth for the Braves, Tom Glavine, there were times where it looked like his foot was in like a half an inch in front of the rubber.
Guy who's in this booth once in a while, Jamie Moyer, did the same thing.
Yeah. Just depends on really whether the umpires want to hold you to the letter of the law. Up high, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Freitas and Giles back at it.
Well, and really, what umpire is going to look for that? Third base umpire is looking for check swings. Second base umpires right now is looking for a balk to first base. Home plate umpires can concentrate on strikes.
Two balls and 2 strikes. That's fouled away. Braves have the infield of double play depth. You saw no double play opportunities. Low, 3-2. Going to start the runner here, right? No?
I wouldn't think so. Not with 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Rollins broke and then stopped. The ball goes off the glove of Betancourt. Rollins going to second, and he is out. It's a strikeout, throw out, double play. Boy, you want to talk about a kid who just never panicked behind the plate, Betancourt. Utley tried to sneak his way up to first, but first base is technically occupied when the strikeout occurred. So he can't advance.
The Braves got lucky there because they hit Phil.
Yeah, it did.
The umpire in the leg and just stayed right there. But like you said, he did not panic. He got up and threw a strike to second base.
Well, now 2 outs all of a sudden here in the 8th. Ryan Howard's the batter. He's 1 for 2. Outside 1-0. He dumped a single to left center field his last time up that drove into. That one's pulled to right at Jason Hayward, who makes a diving attempt, and he makes the catch. And the side is retired. That was the kind of ball that Ryan Howard talked about the other day. He said he's hit the ball hard, but he's hitting it with a lot of topspin. That one was sinking down, and Hayward, he froze for a moment, but was able to close, pull it off the top of the grass, and that'll take us to the bottom of the 8th. Box score. We look at the Atlanta Braves, who are leading this one 6-4 as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. A lot of 2-out, 2-strike base hits tonight for the Braves. They have 10 hits overall, 9 2-out hits, and 4 2-strike hits against A.J. Burnett. The bullpen's been very good for the Phils. 6 up, 6 down for the bullpen, and now Justin DeFreitas will take over here in the 8th inning. DeFreitas picks up for Antonio Bastardo, and he'll face Chris Johnson, Tommy La Stella, and Christian Bethancourt. It's a 6-4 Braves lead. See the numbers on DeFreitas. His ERA went up over 3 because of his last outing. He and Mario Hollins both get hit pretty hard. Chris Johnson a swing and a miss. It's 0-1. No balls and 1 strike to Johnson. Out to right field. Marlon Byrd over toward the line. He got a good jump. 1 out. And here comes Tommy La Stella. One for 3. An RBI single his last time up. Outside, 1-0. You know, these first few outings I think are big for Justin DeFreitas because he had such a high confidence before his last outing when he gave up some runs. In fact, he's given up runs in, I think, in two of his last 3 outings. I think this is these first couple of outings in the second half are big for him to get himself back on track.
Well, just get that confidence back.
Yeah, because he was throwing the ball so well. Like, that's a close pitch right there. He doesn't get. But his slider had been so good since he got brought back up from the minor leagues.
Well, I like to see him bear down against right-handed pitchers. Right-handers are hitting 292 against him, where lefties are hitting 156. So tells me that he has good control of that fastball away, but he knows how to bury that slider down and in versus left-handers.
Foul tip, and it's 3-2. Now a foul ball. It remains 3 balls and 2 strikes. Well, there's Kimbrel, fresh off his All-Star game appearance. A slider, and it's swung on and missed. 2 outs here in the 8th inning. Phillies bullpen's picking up right where they left off. 8 batters up, 8 batters down.
Well, that last pitch by DeFreitas wasn't where he wanted it, down and in, but the old dreaded backup slider, the hardest pitch to hit and the hardest pitch to lay off.
Well, and it's 13 miles an hour less than his fastball. You know, it's got a little late movement on it. So for La Stella, I think he was just trying to foul it off, it seems. Now Bethancourt, that one's out toward right field. Playable for Marlon Byrd. Well, this turns out to be an easy inning for Justin DeFreitas. All right, so the bullpen has set things up for the Phils to try to come from behind. They'll have one last chance against Craig Kimbrel when we return. His own shtick, and always has. Craig Kimbrell got a little fire when he comes into the ball game. It's not that he really needs any kind of shtick, Matt, but he's got a little of it here at Turner Field. He's probably oblivious to a lot of it, but there's all this kind of fire blowing all around the ballpark as we go to the top of the 9th inning.
Well, I guess when you top out at 99 miles an hour,
yeah,
they can play fire wherever they want.
We mentioned that he was in the All-Star game this past week in Minnesota. He represented the Braves in the National League. Did a nice job. This will be his 40th game of the year. He's blown 4 saves, but those numbers are just flat out dominant. 62 strikeouts in 37 2/3. Well, he'll face Marlon Byrd, Grady Sizemore, and Cody Asche. Phil's trying to begin the second half with a victory. They were up 2-0. They trail at 6-4. Only the third at bat for Byrd against Kimbrell. 1 ball and no strikes. Ground ball softly to shortstop. Last year's Gold Glover at shortstop. Simmons kind of pulled the string on that throw a little bit, but there's one man down. Here comes Grady Sizemore.
Well, we need either Grady or Cody Asche get on base, and probably see Dominic Brown in there for a pinch hit for Cameron.
Sizemore is 2 for 3. Next pitch is over. It's 0-1. Milwaukee has beaten Washington, so if the Braves hang on, they'll take over first place in the East. Miami's lost to the Giants 9-1. Mets are just underway in San Diego. Mets are in 3rd place in the East. One ball, 1 strike to Sizemore. And now it's 1-2. A fan has decided to run out onto the field and try to outrun and eventually outjump. Excellent tackle. The security guards here in Atlanta. Kimbrell kind of finds it amusing. B.J. Upton's cleaning up a little bit. He's cleaning up the security guard's headphones. Brave security guards did a heck of a job. They got on the guy pretty quick. He was going nowhere. Well, he'll spend the weekend in the brig.
Minus $500.
If not more at this point. One ball, 2 strikes. It's an excellent tackle.
Tell you what, though, he was actually flying across that outfield.
He was.
Security guard sized it up perfectly, and
1 ball, 2 strikes to Sizemore. Swing and a miss. The delay did not hurt Kimbrel. 2 outs here in the 9th. And Cody Ashe. Phillies try to get a base runner here. This is a slider that spins.
It wasn't really a good curveball, but I guess when your fastball's at 99 and your curveball is anywhere between 83 and 84 miles an hour, that's what happens. You go in front of it.
Well, Ashe tonight is 1 for 2. He had a sac fly his first time up. Phillies lost the last 2 before the break. They're down 2 here tonight. Game 1 of this 3-game series. 0-1. Phillies post-game live is coming up right after tonight's ball game. Ricky Bo is standing by. He'll break this down. We saw a lot of the same things we've been talking about tonight. 2 out hits by the Braves, 2 strike hits by the Braves. Phillies have hit into 3 double plays tonight. A couple traditional, 1 not so traditional. Well, that's just flat out dominant right there. Opposition's 3 for 44 when Kimbrel works ahead 0-2. Two balls and 2 strikes. Three and 2. Nice little battle going on here with Cody Ashe. Don Brown on deck. Tip, and that's the ball game. Kimbrel strikes out the last 2, and the Braves are taking game 1 of this 3-game series to begin the second half of the 2014 season. 6-4 the final score. Kimbrel records his 20th save of the season. Excuse me, 23rd save of the season. And Jason Hayward is our Chevrolet player of the game. 2 for 4 with a home run, 2 RBIs, and 2 runs scored. He also made a heck of a grab out.